After more than 8 years of owning and using a Cricut machine, I've learned my fair share of tips and tricks on how to keep DIYing decor affordable. One of my best hacks for that is heading to Dollar Tree, finding some of their best blanks, and you can really work some magic with those machines. So come along today, I'm doing another installment in one of my favorite series here on my channel, which is my top Dollar Tree blanks and how to use them. This go around, we are doing all fall projects, and as always, I am bringing you the free files to go with it so you can recreate these for your home. You're watching Whiskey and Whit. My name is Whitney, and a huge welcome back to my whiskey craft buddies who are here each and every week to DIY with me. I am so thankful for you guys, and if you are not already an email craft buddy, you're definitely going to want to opt in because all of the free files that I'm sharing today are available over in my free file library over on whiskeyandwhit.com. We're going to kick it off today with this wood cutout pumpkin, and you're also going to want some smaller pumpkins. You can either do these ornaments that Dollar Tree has, or these thicker ones. You can also go the route that I went, which these are from Hobby Lobby. You get 12 in a pack, and it was actually cheaper to go that route, and I didn't have to fill the holes. So a few different options for you. You're going to start by painting your smaller pumpkins and your larger pumpkin orange, and then I did brown for the stems. I kind of worked it down a little bit into the orange so it looked like they really were connected and almost intertwined. Then I took my favorite paint markers from Amazon just to give it a little extra whimsical feel. I'm adding white lines around the outside of all of my pumpkins, as well as a couple black lines with a black paint marker to give it some lowlights to complement the highlights. Then for our decal, we're going to cut out the Welcome to Our Pumpkin Patch cut file that's over in my library. I'm also going to cut out names for everyone in my family. I'm using the font likewise. I will also show you down in the corner the materials I'm using all throughout this video, so you can find that. They will all be linked down below. I'm going to weed out this Welcome to Our Pumpkin Patch as well as all of our names, so I needed 5 pumpkins to begin with. So depending on if you're doing your whole family, grandkids, what have you, make sure that you are getting as many pumpkins as you need for your family. Then I'm going to use some paper transfer tape. I talk about this all the time. You guys are probably sick of me talking about it, but it is literally my favorite thing because you can put it on painted surfaces like I'm showing you here. It's sticky enough to pick up your vinyl, but it's not going to rip up that paint that you work so hard to put down. Once I attach all of the names to the 5 smaller pumpkins, then I'm going to do Welcome to Our Pumpkin Patch, and I'm just reusing some of that transfer tape. You can definitely reuse it a few different times, even though it's low tack, which is great to save some extra dollars. I'm going to apply this a little north of center. It's going to be center widthwise, but a little north height-wise, so then that way I have room for my pumpkins around the bottom. I made something similar a few years ago, and now that we have a baby on the way, it didn't feel right to bring that out this fall, so I wanted to make a new one. And my last step is to add everything with some hot glue. I kind of got a dry fit arrangement and then glued it all down. And then I'm going to finish it off with some raffia around the big pumpkin stem, as well as some raffia in the hole at the top so I can hang it on my wreath. I love how this looks in my Pottery Barn dupe wreath on our front door. This is the lit one I made a few videos back. So if you're interested in making one for yourself, you can check out that video. I will link it for you down below. I love how this turned out, and it's the first piece of decor that we have with the baby represented, which is so exciting. I fell in love with these watercolor pumpkin placemats at Dollar Tree, and so I decided I could zhuzh them up a little bit. We're going to use some heat transfer vinyl. It's also referred to as HTV if you're new. I'm going to cut out my Let's Gather and Give Thanks file, and I want to make sure that I'm putting the shiny side down on my mat. The other thing you want to keep in mind when you're cutting heat transfer vinyl is you want to mirror it in Design Space. And while I'm filming this video, they actually just launched something that if you select iron on vinyl, it will auto mirror it for you. So that is good so you don't forget. Just remember, if you're using the iron on setting for something you don't want mirrored, make sure that the auto doesn't get you there. Then I'm going to weed all the inner pieces of all the letters out first. I find that that's helpful because this carrier sheet is sticky, and if you take the outer sheet, then your hand is going to stick while you're getting the little pieces off. So personally, I like to take all the little pieces out first and then take this big piece. Then the last step we have is to use some heat to adhere it because heat transfer vinyl needs heat to transfer. So I'm going to press it for about 25 to 30 seconds at 320. My particular vinyl is a hot peel, so I peeled it right off. And these are so cute. You can customize these in a ton of different ways. You can even put people's names on them to act as place cards. And they are perfect. They still fit my large square plates even when you can still see the text. So typically I save heat transfer vinyl for later in the video, but I love these projects so much we are putting them in the front. We're going to grab some of these Dollar Tree canvases, and you can use any size that they have. Just make sure you're getting an option with wood on the inside. I went with the 2-pack for $5 in the plus section, but you can also use the $1.25 8x10. I'm using a box cutter to remove the canvas piece, and I used to pop out all of the staples by hand, and that was way quicker, so I'm going to be doing that in the future. After a quick sand and stain to the frame, I went inside and cut out both a Great Gatsby free file as well as a Sleepy Hollow file that I designed, which again, all these will be over in that free file library. And I'm cutting it out in black Caesar Easy Weed vinyl, same way that we did before. To help save vinyl on both of those book pages, I kind of cut everything out in chunks. So the title of the book page, the text, and then if it has a page number at the bottom. You can cut them out all in one piece if it helps you space things, but I decided I didn't want to waste some of that dead space in vinyl. So totally up to you. It's all in how you attach it in Design Space. Then I'm going to do a quick dry fit with the border on the outside just to make sure that I have everything centered, and then I'm going to press it the same way that I did with that placemat. You're going to have to move it around, especially dependent on the size of your press. You can also use an iron for heat transfer vinyl. I did that for years, so you don't need a Cricut press, but it is nice to have. You don't have to have it though. Then we're going to peel off those carrier sheets and trim off any extra canvas. You can usually see the curve and the crease on the outside, so that's what you're going to cut along. We're going to do the same thing for our Sleepy Hollow pack, and then it's time to reattach to our frame. So what I'm going to do is add glue from my hot glue gun just to one side of the frame. I'm going to attach that, and then we're going to flip it over and finish the gluing. I find if you glue the entire thing, it takes a little bit longer, and also some of your glue will start cooling and solidifying before you're able to get it where you want it. I love how this Great Gatsby sign looks with my pumpkin DIY high-end art. That's also from my dupe video I mentioned before. And I'm kind of working on my entryway to our house because that's what most people see. I've got those up on our floating shelf, and then down here I've got some color as well as my dupe stone pumpkins. So if you like any of these projects, be sure to check out that dupes video so you don't miss it. Here is what the Sleepy Hollow sign looks like too. I love it. I've seen a lot of people do this in printable form, but I really like it in the reverse canvas with the easy wood border. As we head into the holiday season, I want to make sure that you guys who are watching this video, my Cricut interested or vinyl machine interested folks, know about this event that I'm a part of September 23rd through 27th, which is called the Giftfest. This is a free event full of more than 50 classes taught by experts on how to make handmade gifts. It comes with a lot of free cut files and a ton more perks. So be sure to grab your free ticket, and even if you're a little bit interested, so then that way you can be reminded to catch those classes. Another thing I'm doing is if you don't want to cram that all into 1 week, they also have a VIP pass, which is an upgrade. If you purchase that, you're going to be entered into a drawing if you use my link, which is QR coded here on the screen or down in the description. For every 25 craft buddies that sign up for the VIP, I'm going to draw a new winner for a one-on-one live Zoom craft call with me. I'm so excited. I've done these in past events. Can't wait to see who will win that, so you can check out all of that info down below. I hope you'll join me, and even if you're remotely interested, grab that ticket so you've got all the details in your inbox. This next project was a last minute addition, but I was walking down the party supply aisle and saw this turkey tray, and I was instantly inspired. I brought it home and covered it with some painter's tape just in the center, and then I used a box cutter to carefully cut around the outside to get a more even edge. So then that way we have the outside exposed, but the inside reflective area is blocked from any paint we're going to add. Then I took some black matte spray paint and spray painted the outside in my lovely spray paint tent. I get questions about it all the time, so I will link it down below. It's a game changer so you don't get stuff on your cars, your garage, anything else. Then after I let this completely dry after 2 coats, I'm peeling off the painter's tape, and then our last step is to add our vinyl. I love how this looks like a spooky Halloween mirror, and I'm going to add this Ghost and Goblins file. This is on black matte vinyl. I cut it to 11 inches tall, and I carefully weeded out everything, all the different pieces. And then I realized that that was supposed to say Shining Bright, not Shining Bring. And I was so mad. But hold on, we're going to apply this. We're going to remove the letters we don't want. And I'm going to show you real quick how you can change this, because for a long time, I thought you just had to recut the whole thing to get the sizing right, and it was just a waste of vinyl. You do not have to recut the whole thing. So say you're missing an eye, a little piece, you spelt it wrong like me. I will show you in just a second how to fix it. I'm going to use the hinge method to apply this vinyl. So all that is using painter's tape here to put down half of it. Then that way it's not going to move on you. So you get it right where you want it, apply half and then the other half, especially if you're worried about just winging it to try to get it centered. This will save you so many headaches. So here is how to quickly and easily fix that little issue that I had. It is not only great if you spell something wrong like me, but say you are weeding and you're missing a chunk of an eye, like the little dot, or you need like a hyphen or something. This is a really easy way to fix it. So we've got our same SVG file in the same size. That's important. You want to make sure it's sized the same. And then you're going to go up here and you're going to ungroup it. Then you're also going to grab this section and ungroup it, because all you want is this HT. So we're going to take this top, delete it, take this bottom, delete it. We also don't need wishing you a spooky, don't need the dots. We already have the BRIG, and we've got HT. That's it. We're going to attach, and we're going to go ahead and make it, and we're going to be able to cut just that chunk instead of having to redo the whole thing. So I'm going to cut that out, get my thing fixed, and show you how cute it is styled. I absolutely love how this turned out, because it really does look like a mirror. It's not completely reflective, which is actually nice. So you can kind of see just a little bit of the outlines. It is such a big piece for $1.25, and it was so easy to make over. So those turkey trays, you better grab them, because they might be flying before Thanksgiving if people see this project and want to recreate it. If that turkey tray is a little too large for your house, no worries. Here's another idea. You're going to grab one of these smaller trays. I found it in the houseware section, but sometimes you can find them in the party section as well. I'm using black MAC vinyl again, adding this decal that I cut to 7.5 inches wide. And I have a similar version over in my free file library. I originally got this one from Etsy, but then it was a little too shiny, so I added a little bit of black paint on the outside, and it is the perfect size for all of my little Pop Funkos. I have the whole set for Hocus Pocus. I absolutely love it. I think the only one I don't have is Binks, but that one has been sold out for a few years, and it's like $100. So we'll just, in our mind, think we have Binks in the setup. As somebody who shops at Dollar Tree literally probably once a week, it's embarrassing to admit that, but it's part of my job. I was so excited to see these new signs. They were in a box with the wood rounds that you guys know I love so much, and I thought this would be a really fun take to add to a wreath or just use as a sign, especially for $1.25. So we're going to stain it in Early American Stain, and then I'm covering it with a chippy brush. I'm doing two different versions, so a Halloween and a fall. For a lot of these projects, I did that for you guys, so depending on what you're looking for, you've got options. I'm going to do the Halloween one in this Frankenstein / Bride of Frankenstein restroom file that is over on my blog. Now, it's an SVG, so if you want this to say welcome, Monster Mash, literally whatever you want it to say, like stay out of my house, I don't want visitors, whatever vibe you're feeling, you can just delete the text at the top and just add your own and then just reattach it. So you can use, the Frankenstein bit and not have to do the restroom if not. But I thought this was fun to mark our downstairs restroom, because I usually hang a wreath on the door anyway. I cut this to 10 inches wide on that black matte vinyl. That is my go-to. I have that all the time in my craft room, and that's when I'm putting on things. I usually use paint to add color. And once I apply it with my paper transfer tape, it's not going to rip it up, re-add the hanger, and it's good to go. This will sit on its own, but it will also sit really cute on a wreath, and I am so excited. Let me know if you've seen these in your store. If you haven't, I'm sure they're coming, because this is the first time I've seen them, and I just was able to find them last week. Now for our fall edition of this sign, we are going to go through with some orange paint, just the same way we did with that kind of cream color. And the file for this one I'm using is called Let's Jump in the Leaves. We're using matte white adhesive vinyl. I like the matte just because I think it gives it a little more high-end look. It's not as shiny, but you can easily use shiny vinyl. It's no big deal if that's what you have. And then I am going to use that paper transfer tape again, and at 10.5 inches wide, we're going to add this to the center of our sign. Now, what I was thinking when I was making this is how cute would this be if it looked like it was actually on top of a pile of leaves. So at Dollar Tree in their fall section, they had these $1.25 like garlands They're not the most full, but once you put them together, they definitely can create a fun effect. So I grabbed 6 total. I'm going to put 4 on the wreath and just wrap them around. So I did 2 yellow and 2 of the red maple leaves. And as I was wrapping, I was trying to fill any open areas. Now, as you can see, there's still some holes. So what I did is I pulled off the rest of the leaves from the last red and yellow one. And then with the sign sitting on top, I used some hot glue to fill any open holes because if the sign's going to cover it, you don't need it there. And I love how this turned out. Now, I went for an asymmetrical look on purpose, so don't come at me and say, Whitney, your wreath is not round. I wanted it to look like a pile of leaves. So if you want it to be round, you can absolutely do that. But how fun is this? I'm obsessed. A ton of my stores are turning over to Dollar Tree Plus, so I wanted to give you a couple options there as well. This turntable or Lazy Susan was only $5, and the wording just seemed a little bit vanilla to me, something that everybody would have, so we're going to make it over to look a little more custom. I started by sanding down the wood to get rid of the lettering, and then I stained it. As you can see, there's a little bit of a remnant of the text, but no worries. We're going to take some painter's tape, tape off a section near the bottom, and paint it black. You could also paint it orange, you could also paint it white, but I wanted this to be able to be used year-round. Then we're going to use the Let's Gather and Give Thanks file that we actually used on the placemat earlier. I'm going to weed it out in some white matte vinyl. Same thing I'm telling you every time, one of my favorites. And then we're going to apply that so it hangs off the black just a little bit. If this is strictly decorative, then you don't have to worry about sealing it. But if you are going to be like putting things on and off of it, like I wouldn't say it's food safe. It's definitely not food safe actually. But what I would say is if you're going to be putting like containers and things on and off of it to like actually use it, I would seal it. You could use anything from like a Mod Podge just to help with scratching all the way up to a polyacrylic. This next one is another plus find. I found 2 of these signs for $5 each, but the great thing is you can use this on so many different bases you may already have, and they don't have to be Dollar Tree. This is great to use on like clearance signs as well. So if you're seeing like spring, Hobby Lobby does a big clearance, Michael's does, grab some signs and paint yourself a blank canvas. So on one of them, I'm using the color Sandstone for a more neutral look, and then here I'm going for a traditional chalkboard look. So I did black on the back, and then I also did black on the sides just so that didn't stand out. So for this one, for my fall one, I'm going to use a file called Take Me Down to the Pumpkin City, and I'm going to use an Addams Family name file. Now let me show you how to set those up in Design Space. If you're wanting to change any of the colors on my SVGs, here's how to do it quickly and easily. So we're going to use this Pumpkin City one, and what you're going to want to do is head over here, and as you can see, there's a bunch of different elements. So we're going to ungroup this until you can get all of your different pieces individually. So then all I'm going to do is you can either select it over here or over here, and I'm holding down Command on my Mac. Here are all my pieces, and all I have to do is go up here and change it to orange. That is it. Now what you're going to want to do is if you want these to cut in place, you're going to want to select them and hit attach. If you don't mind that they cut individually because we're going to hand place them, that's fine too. The other thing I'm going to go through and do is select this text here. So we've got these two. We're going to attach these two so they cut together. And we also want our orange. So here's this. So I'm going to attach that. And then I'm also going to attach these 3. So all I'm doing is basically telling the machine to cut them separately. So then that way I can have a nice big sign with the different pieces. So then once you cut everything, you're going to have all your little elements on orange or whatever color that you want. And then we are going to have our 2 sections of the wording. I also did the same thing for the setup for the Addams Family. And as you will notice here in a few minutes, you can add your own family name. So the font I used was Likewise. You literally just type out your family name after you install the font or whatever font you like, and you can attach that. So there'll be a hole at the bottom where you can put your own family name. Now I'm going to apply this with transfer tape, paper to be exact, and we're also going to use the hinge method that we used before. So I'm going to get everything where I want it, and I'm also going to start trimming some of these outer pieces of transfer tape so I can better understand where those orange elements need to go. Another thing that's helpful with this is pull up your SVG file so you can actually see it so you're not going in blind. Then that way you know holistically like where everything needs to sit. Then once my letters are where they need to go, I'm going to put that paper transfer tape down. and I'm going to do the hinge method that we did with the mirror sign earlier. So pick up the one side, chop a little bit off, push it down from the center outward, and then you can do the other side and it's not going to move on you. It's going to really reduce your frustration, I promise. Repeat the same with that bottom piece, and then we're just going to go in by hand and add our little orange elements with some more paper transfer tape. I had a lot of you guys ask for some porch ideas. This would be super cute on a small porch. It would also be great on a table. It would be cute outside. So many different options for this one. If you're using it outside, I would recommend sealing over the top with a polyacrylic. Then that way your vinyl's not going to peel up on you. But I love how this turned out, and how fun is the Guns N' Roses reference. I saw something similar, but I didn't like the wording, so I decided to make my own, which is usually the case for a lot of projects. For the Addams Family one, it's the same thing. I'm using my hinge method. I'm putting this on the sandstone color so the black text pops. And then, like I said, you can add your own name to this one. Totally customizable. If you're going to a Halloween party too, this is a pretty quick and easy thing to whip up. That would be a really cute hostess gift. And you could put this on literally anything. It doesn't have to be on this Dollar Tree sign. That's the beauty of my free files. You can do what you want on what you want, mix and match, all the fun stuff. If you've been on this fall and Halloween DIY journey for this year, you guys know I love Haunted Mansion, so I am going to make a fun Haunted Mansion lantern. I am going to grab some frames. I decided to go with the rectangular traditional ones with a black frame, but you could paint frames, use ones you already have, or those curved ones that I showed that kind of look like ghosts. That would be cool as well. Or you could even do this on the outside of a lantern, but I'm going to make my own. I'm going to pop out the glass, put the frame aside, and do that on all 4 containers. Then I'm using some more of that black matte permanent adhesive vinyl. We're going to cut my Haunted Mansion lantern pack. There's 4 different files. You're going to cut all of them to 6.25 inches tall. I'm doing a 5x7 frame like I am. We're going to weed everything out, and then I'm going to use some transfer tape to apply it right to the glass. This is a pretty straightforward project. It takes a little bit of time weeding, but honestly, if you've got good transfer tape, good vinyl, and also a solid blade that's not dull on your machine, you'll be good to go. And once I second guessed myself about 5 times, I then applied it to the center and everything stuck great. I continued that on the other 3 files, and then it was time to add them back to the frames. I just took the little pieces that held the glass in because I was going to see them if I used them to hold the glass in. I bent them back, and then I added some hot glue to all 4 corners, just so that way my glass wouldn't move. Then once they are all put back together, it was time to use some hot glue to make a lantern. You've probably seen this. This version of making a lantern from Dollar Tree frames is not my idea. It's not new. Everybody and their brothers made it at one point. But I thought this would be a really cost-effective way to make a Haunted Mansion lantern versus having to try to find a lantern. At this moment, I realized I was an airhead and put Madame Leota in backwards. So if I put her in, then she'd be backwards. So I popped her out, re-glued her, and all was well back again in the world. Then my last step was to take some Dollar Tree spooky cloth. I just cut it in half because it was way too much. I just needed half of a piece, and then I added a LED candle I already had. One of my favorite little extra details that I added was I put it in order. So you see Welcome Foolish Mortals to the Haunted Mansion up first when you look at it. Then you go to, is this haunted room actually stretching? And it's in the order of the ride. So after that you see Madame Leota. And then you're going to see the singing bus from the last scene, which is the graveyard at the Haunted Mansion. I don't know what it is about fall time at Dollar Tree, but I swear to you, this is when I find the best kitchen like tea towels. I look every time I go. I found an orange pack of 3 and a black pack of 3, and it had Dollar Tree like branding on it. So I'm thinking they're going to bring these into a lot more stores. So keep your eyes peeled. I picked a ton of fun files that are from my free library, and I cut them out to 4.5 inches wide because that was the sizing for this tea towel. This is just regular, the Caesar Easy Weed in white and black. So I'm doing white on the black towels and black on the orange towels. I started by giving my towels just a quick little like press with either the iron or the heat press you're using, just because when Dollar Tree packages them, they get pretty wrinkled and you want it to sit where you want it to sit, not where it tells you it needs to sit. We're going to press those at 25 to 30 seconds at 320. You're going to want to look at your individual heat transfer vinyl information so that you press it when you press it, and you know if you peel it when it's hot, or it's one of these where you let it cool down and then you peel it. Once I peeled it off, I went back through with the carrier sheet off, but with a Teflon sheet. This is a great thing to have in your craft room because it's a protective sheet between your press and your vinyl, so it doesn't melt onto it. And I just gave it like a quick little repress there to make sure everything stuck down in case anything popped up just ever so slightly when you removed that carrier sheet. Now I have 6 new tea towels for decoration. They're not the softest. The orange is softer than the black, but I thought for decoration this would be awesome around my house, and honestly for $2.50 and some scrap vinyl, like this is wonderful. So head over to the free file library, grab some of your favorites, and make your own tea towels as well. Ever since becoming a mom and having a little kid that likes to trick-or-treat, I've learned that trick-or-treat buckets take up so much space. We have so many. You use them once a year. So I decided to make a tote bag for Finn this year for trick-or-treating. I grabbed a Dollar Tree, $1.25 juncture tote bag, and I cut out this Booty U file. This is another one of mine. I designed this because you guys have been loving the Disney inspired Halloween things I've been doing. And so I really like to listen to what you guys are leaving in comments and suggestions and really give you guys projects that you want to make. So once we cut everything out on the respective vinyl, I'm just using scraps. I'm going to cut the batt off of the black sheet. Now to get them to cut together, you're just going to attach all of the same colors in Design Space. So attach all your oranges, attach all your blacks, attach all your green, yellow, etc., purple, and then that is going to make it so you have a sheet like this where everything's in the right spot. I'm going to press the black. Now you saw I cut the batt off because of the layering, and this is a cool peel, so we are going to let it cool, peel it off, and then we are going to add our orange. The orange you're going to be able to line up because it fits with the black lines that you just put down. So get that all centered, and then we're going to grab that Teflon sheet again just because there's no carrier sheet on the black underneath and I don't want to melt that. And we are pressing that anywhere between 15 and 20 seconds. You want it to adhere, but you don't want to go the full 30-second time because you're going to put more heat on the top and you're going to scorch it. So you kind of have to play around with it. Start under and then add more if you need it, instead of adding too much and then having like crinkly, icky looking vinyl. I'm going to add my black bat, my purple No Tricks, all treats, plus little stars to the bottom, and the green leaf and the face because none of it overlaps, so I could easily do that all in one pass. Let it cool, peel that off, and your bag is ready to go. I am so happy with how this turned out. I am getting more and more into digital design. I actually took some classes in college in like Photoshop, Illustrator, the Adobe suite, and I've been having such a blast designing these files for you guys. I hope some of you make this for kids, grandkids, etc. for Halloween. It is so fun. I mentioned before the Dollar Tree wood rounds. These are a favorite. They are always usually in my blanks video. This one is a fun new take. This is actually a Craft Buddy suggestion as well. We're going to remove the hanger and add some black paint with a baby wipe to give a black stained effect. I'm just taking it and applying it, and now we've got kind of that blotchy effect, but that's what I was going for. I want it to look a little more rustic. Once that's dry, we're cutting out a Jack Skellington face. This is from my free file library as well, and it's kind of a multi-purpose file. So once you weed out the face, I'm going to weed out the circle at the top, and then I'm going to actually weed out the actual face. So there is an extra like circle on the outside that you can either leave or remove. It's dependent on if you're making his face black or white on whatever file you're using it for. I'm going to apply it a little south of center just because I'm going to add a bow. You can add it right in the center if you're not adding a bow. Up at the top, I'm going to use some of these at-home picks. I've been talking about them all season. They were such a great price, and I love the berries. It's a little different than florals, and I think this was like, I had the foresight to buy this even though I had no idea I was making this project because I think it's perfect. I'm taking some Dollar Tree black velvet ribbon that I found in the Halloween section. I'm going to fluff that because it's wired, and then I'm going to dovetail the ends. Now, originally, it looked like Jack had a hair bow and with the tails going down like that. And I was like, this doesn't really fit the vibe that we're going for. Like, it's like, this is Jack with Sally's ribbon instead of like, this is Halloween. So instead, I took the little tails and I pulled them up to go horizontally. And that made a huge difference. And here is my cute little Jack door hanger. How fun. I love how he turned out. He's so cute, but unfortunately, this is not my vibe for decor. This movie is not one of my top ones, so I would like to give this to one of you guys. So comment down below, send me Jack, and I will pick a winner next week and alert that winner that I will be sending you a Jack Skellington sign for your front porch. If you're hoping a little more to use your wood round for This Is Fall instead of This Is Halloween, no worries, I gotcha. You're going to stain the circle in Minwax Early American or whatever stain you love. And then I took some masking tape, you can use painter's tape, whatever, tape off the center, and then I used the color Spanish Tile, which is this really pretty like burnt orange color for the bottom. Once that is done, take your tape off right when it is wet, so then that way you won't have any issues with it peeling up later. And then these files are actually from Design Space. So this is the only file today that is a Design Space file that isn't a Whiskey and Whit file, but I did want to share this project in case you were interested and missed it when I shared it before. I am going to cut this to the width of my circle, and then I'm going to apply it. It's a little bit taller than where I put the line, so if you want it to match up exactly, I would cut your file and then measure and then paint. So just FYI, but I like that it goes over a little bit. I'm going to line it up with the curve at the bottom, apply it, remove that transfer tape, and then I'm going to use a file also from Design Space that says hello there pumpkin or hey there pumpkin. We are going to put that right in the center over the top. This is the white matte vinyl and this is 10 inches wide. I'm going to finish it off with a bow just like I did with Jack Skellington, and then this is good to go on top of your wreath. This is for my fall lovers versus my Halloween people, or hey, grab 2 circles and make double like I did. I love this sign and I break it out every year. I made this like 2 or 3 years ago and it's still Craft Buddy favorite. And Craft Buddies, this video is getting long, but I wanted to make sure you were aware of these fun scrolls I made last year. These are a Dollar Tree DIY with the scroll craft paper that they have. I made a Halloween and fall version again here. I'll show you how to make the bats, how to make the scroll for the wall. So if you're interested in this project, check out my Cricut fall DIYs from last year. It will be linked down below as well as up above, and you can check out this tutorial just so then that way you can head on to the next video. I don't like to keep you too long because I know you're busy. Wow, that was a jam-packed video, but like I said, I love making these, so I just kept finding items and I was like, I can do that. I can make over that. I can make over that. So I hope you found a ton of inspo from this video. Like I mentioned before, all of the files that are mine will be in my free file library. You will need a password for that, and the password actually just changed for September 2024 when this video is going up. So you're going to want to make sure that you either check your newsletter that came out with this video to get the updated password, or you can head over to my blog. There's a little blue line at the top. You're going to click it. It'll say join the Whiskey Craft Buddies, get access. You'll get the password and then you can log in. I'll email it right to you. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks for being here. Be sure to hit subscribe if you loved this video and you're not already a craft buddy, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Bye.